The mockery of Earth in the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council. Stars glimmered like jewels above the glass ceiling. Delegates from 100 worlds gathered, their voices echoing, their laughter sharp, and in the center, the representative of Earth stood silent, his face calm, his eyes steady. The alien empires had long mocked Earth. To them, humanity was small, fragile, and backward. They said humans still clung to old traditions, still argued among themselves, still fought over small pieces of land. How could such a species ever stand against the galaxy's ancient powers? Earth should be grateful we even allow them to sit here, one alien delegate hissed, his scaled body glinting under the council lights. Others chuckled, tapping their claws on the table. Some whispered that humans had no ships, no great armies, no weapons that could shake the stars. The human diplomat did not answer. He only listened, he only smiled faintly, and that silence became another reason for the council's laughter. "Look at them," a tall alien with silver horns sneered. "They are too weak to defend their own colonies. Soon Earth will beg for protection, soon they will kneel, and we will own their skies." The chamber erupted in cruel laughter. Some delegates pounded the table, others slapped their tails. A few even pointed at the human envoy as if he were a clown on a stage. But not everyone laughed. A quiet tension stirred in the shadows. A few older alien leaders leaned back, their eyes narrowing. They had seen something in human history that others ignored. They remembered wars where humans fought not with numbers but with determination. They remembered Earth's survival against odds that should have crushed them. Yet still, the noise of mockery drowned all warnings. "Humans are children," one delegate shouted. "Give them toys, not weapons." The human envoy bowed his head politely. His voice when he finally spoke was calm. "You may laugh today," he said, "but history is not written in halls of laughter. It is written in the silence after the guns fire." The room went quiet for a heartbeat. Then the laughter returned, louder, crueler, sharper. No one believed his words. No one saw the weight in his calm tone. Far away from the council, deep in the dark reaches of the solar system, shadows moved. On moons and asteroids hidden from alien eyes, massive structures stirred. Metal giants slumbered under the ice of Europa, under the dust of Mars, within hollowed asteroids that looked empty but were not. This truth was known to only a few. Humanity had been mocked for years, insulted in every meeting, dismissed in every treaty. But behind the silence, behind the smiles, behind the bowed heads, Earth was building, Earth was preparing. In the council hall, the laughter continued. One alien jeered. "Perhaps Earth should build an army of birds. At least they can fly," another smirked. "Or perhaps they can throw stones into space. That is all humans are good for." The human envoy stood still like a stone in a river of ridicule. He did not defend his people, he did not argue. He only raised his eyes once to the stars above the ceiling. His silence was not weakness. His silence was a warning, though none could hear it. And somewhere deep in the void, the first engines of the hidden fleet hummed to life. The sound was low, secret, unheard by the laughing empires. But it was there, steady, powerful, waiting. The galaxy thought humanity was weak. The galaxy thought Earth was a joke. But the truth was darker, heavier, and far more dangerous. For when Earth was silent, it was never out of fear. It was out of patience. And patience was the sharpest weapon humanity had ever learned to use. And in that silence, the real Armada waited. The Armada no alien believed existed. The Armada that would one day rise and turn every laugh into silence. The mockery of Earth filled the chamber. But beyond the stars, the countdown had already begun. Whispers of the hidden fleet. The laughter of the council still echoed across the galaxy. Alien worlds spread the story like wildfire. "The humans are weak," they said. "They have no fleet, no power, no future." On trading posts and military stations, in shadowed bars and glowing markets, the joke of Earth became common talk, but in the middle of the noise, whispers began to rise. At first, they were faint, spoken only by smugglers who traveled the dark lanes between stars. They claimed they saw movement in asteroid belts, lights flickering where no colony existed. Some told stories of massive engines hidden beneath the ice of moons. Others swore they saw entire rock formations drift against gravity, as if they were alive human tricks. One alien barked when he heard, "Nothing but lies to make themselves look strong." But still the whispers spread, like smoke in a closed room, in a mining outpost near the red giant Karos. A group of alien workers gathered around a table, their voices hushed, their eyes darting. My cousin works near the Terran border, one said. He saw strange ships, silent, black, moving like shadows. Another shook his head. Impossible, humans barely have frigates. They cannot build armadas. But the first leaned forward, his voice trembling. Then why did his entire patrol vanish? Without sending a signal, rumors grew into fear. Fear grew into arguments in the war rooms of alien empires. Commanders shouted at their scouts demanding answers. Reports came back confused, fleets missing. Patrols cut off, strange energy spikes near Sol. But no one could prove anything. In the halls of the council, the laughter began to falter. Some leaders grew restless. What if the humans are hiding something? One asked quietly. What if their silence is not weakness but a trap? The loudest voices dismissed it. Do not be fooled by insects pretending to be wolves, a powerful warlord said. If they had such ships, they would have shown them by now. But others, the careful ones, did not sleep easily, far from the eyes of the galaxy. In the cold dark between Neptune and Pluto, the truth waited. Enormous hangars hidden inside carved ice mountains opened slowly, and inside rested warships blacker than the void. Each ship was silent, no beacon, no name, only the gleam of metal forged in secret. Humans worked quietly inside these hidden bases, engineers with tired eyes, soldiers in silent drills, captains walking the long corridors of ships that no alien had ever seen. These were not the fragile frigates the galaxy mocked. These were hunters, predators designed to strike fast and disappear. And still Earth said nothing. Still the envoy bowed his head in meetings. Still the galaxy laughed. But spies could not ignore what they saw. A bounty hunter swore he saw a human convoy vanish into an asteroid, the rock itself opening like a mouth to swallow them. A pirate claimed he attacked a Terran transport, but before his fleet could fire, dark ships emerged from nowhere and cut him to pieces. When he told the story, his voice shook and no one laughed. In one council chamber, an older alien commander stood and said, "Mark my words, humanity is not idle. They do not build noise, they build silence. And when their silence ends, the stars will shake." The chamber went quiet for a moment. But then another sneered, "Old fool, you let shadows scare you." The laughter returned. But weaker, whispers grew into warnings. Warnings became arguments. And arguments turned into secret plans. Some empires began moving fleets closer to Earth's borders, pretending it was routine patrol. Others sent spies to Mars, to Luna, to the Belt, desperate to uncover the truth, but they found nothing. The humans had hidden their work too well. Every shipyard looked empty. Every station looked weak, every colony looked poor. The galaxy saw only what Earth allowed them to see. In the dark, the hidden fleet grew stronger, larger, hungrier, thousands of silent ships, each armed with weapons that had never been tested in open war. Weapons humans had built with patience, with anger, with memory of every insult they had endured on one lonely station. A young alien cadet whispered to his friend, "If the humans truly have such an armada, why do they not show it?" The friend shivered. "Because they are waiting. Waiting for the day they no longer need to ask permission." And across the stars, in council halls, in taverns, in war rooms, the question began to grow. A question no one wanted to answer. What if the whispers were true? What if Earth was not weak? What if the real human armada was already here, hidden in the shadows, and if it was, then when it came, would anyone be ready? The first strike, the galaxy still laughed, but the whispers no longer died. They clung to the edges of every conversation. Some mocked them, some feared them, but no one could silence them. And then, without warning, everything changed. It began on the edge of the Orion Arm. A human colony on the world of Helios 2 was small, a farming planet barely defended. Alien raiders from the Tragar Dominion saw it as easy prey. They gathered a fleet of 20 warships, sleek and armored, confident that the humans would not resist. In the control hall of the Dominion flagship, the alien commander grinned. "This will be quick," he said. "We will burn their fields, take their slaves, and Earth will know they are nothing." His crew cheered, their voices echoing with cruel excitement. The fleet dropped from hyperspace above Helios 2. The sky turned red with fire trails. Human farmers ran, alarms blared. Children cried as shadows of alien ships fell across the ground. For the first time in years, the galaxy expected humanity to beg. But the begging never came. Instead, the humans sent no message at all. They only went silent. The colony did not call for help, did not surrender, did not even plead. That silence filled the Dominion commander with confusion, and then unease. "Where is their governor?" he demanded. "Why do they not send a signal?" His officers looked at one another uneasy, and then the sky tore open. From behind the Helios star a shape emerged. At first it looked like a shadow, long and jagged. Then it split into smaller shadows, moving with impossible precision. Silent, cold, relentless, one human warship appeared. Then two, then five, each one black as the void. With hulls that seemed to swallow light, their engines whispered rather than roared. Their weapons glowed with a strange, pulsing fire. The Dominion commander snarled, "Frigates! Nothing more." He ordered his fleet to attack. His ships surged forward, confident that human technology could not match them. But the first volley came from the humans. A single beam of white light shot from the lead Terran ship. It cut through space like a sword, slicing the Dominion's first cruiser in half. The explosion painted the sky. Silence followed. The commander froze, his jaw tight. "Impossible," he whispered. Another human ship fired, then another. Each strike precise, surgical. Each Dominion ship fell one by one, their shields useless against weapons they had never seen. Panic filled the Dominion fleet. "They were supposed to be weak," shouted one officer. "They were supposed to kneel." But there was no kneeling now, only burning wreckage. The farmers of Helios the Coup stood outside their shelters, their eyes wide. They saw dark Terran warships move across the sky like predators, each one hunting with calm precision. No shouts, no chaos, only silence and destruction. In less than 1 hour, the mighty Dominion fleet was gone. 20 ships reduced to fire and drifting wreckage. Only one human warship had been scratched, and even then its shields glowed steady. The Dominion commander's final words were filled with disbelief. "This cannot be." They were weak. Then his flagship exploded into shards, swallowed by the fire of a single human strike. News spread faster than light. Traders carried the story to other worlds. Smugglers told it in hushed voices. Council chambers shook with arguments. The truth was no longer whispers. It was fact. Humans had a fleet, not small, not fragile, but powerful, brutal, and silent. A fleet that could erase 20 ships without mercy. In the council, one alien delegate shouted, "This was a trick, a trap, a lie." But another stood pale and trembling. "It was no trick," the humans warned us, and we did not listen. The galaxy trembled. The laughter was fading. Fear began to replace it on Helios 2. The Terran commander walked onto the surface. His black uniform gleamed under the twin suns. He looked at the sky filled with wreckage and spoke quietly to his officers. "This was not victory," he said. "This was only a message." The officers nodded. Their faces hard, they all knew what he meant. Humanity had revealed only a fragment of its power. A single strike to remind the galaxy. The real Armada had not yet moved. And in the silence after the fire, the galaxy understood one thing. Earth would not kneel, not now, not ever. The real Armada revealed. The destruction of the Dominion fleet shook the galaxy. For years the aliens had laughed at Earth, but now their laughter turned into silence. Every tavern, every council hall, every military base whispered the same question. How strong is humanity really? Some empires dismissed it as luck. Perhaps the Dominion fleet was careless, they said. Perhaps the humans used some secret trick. But others knew better. They had seen the clean precision of the strike. They had heard the fear in the survivors' last words, and they could not dismiss it. The council demanded an explanation. Human diplomats stood silent, giving no answers, their eyes calm, their voices measured. "We will defend ourselves if attacked," was all they said. But no one believed that was the whole truth. On distant worlds, alien rulers gathered their fleets. Some prepared to strike first, others ordered spies to tear apart every human colony, looking for hidden shipyards. But the more they searched, the less they found. Earth's surface seemed peaceful, quiet, even weak. Yet deep in the shadows of the solar system, the truth stirred. It happened in the black void near Saturn. A fleet of alien scouts drifted close, searching for signs of Terran power at first. They saw nothing but rings and silence. Then, without warning, the stars themselves seemed to bend. From the shadows emerged shapes so massive that even the scouts froze in terror. The first warship slid forward, larger than any battleship in the galaxy. Its hull glowed faintly with energy shields that shimmered like water. Its engines burned without flame, silent but powerful. Then another followed and another, until the void filled with black silhouettes. Thousands of ships, each different, each deadly, carriers the size of cities, destroyers bristling with rail cannons, sleek frigates built for speed and ambush, even massive dreadnoughts with weapons pointed forward like the teeth of some ancient predator. The alien scouts could only whisper one word before fleeing. Armada. Back in the council, chaos erupted. They were never weak, one delegate shouted. They were building this in silence, another slammed the table. Impossible, we would have seen it. But the truth was undeniable. Humanity had hidden its strength in plain sight. Mining colonies, asteroid bases, and deep space vaults had all been part of the plan. For decades, humans had been underestimated. Every insult, every mockery, every treaty signed with contempt had only bought them time. And in that time, they had forged something the galaxy could not match. News spread faster than fire. Entire systems turned their scanners toward Sol, watching in horror as ship after ship rose from the dark. Some were painted with Earth's old flag, some carried no markings at all. But all bore the same silent promise, vengeance. In a broadcast that rippled across the stars, a Terran commander finally spoke. His voice was calm, steady, but filled with iron. "We do not seek war," he said, "but we do not forget you mocked us. You enslaved our children, you called us weak. Now you will see who we are." The feed cut and the galaxy trembled. In secret war rooms, alien generals argued. "We must unite against Earth," one shouted. "If we do not, they will crush us all." But others shook their heads in despair. Even united, our fleets are smaller, weaker, slower. They knew the truth. Humanity had outbuilt them, outplanned them, outweighted them. Meanwhile, in the void near Neptune, drills thundered. Human soldiers trained in silence. Their faces hard. They had no illusions of peace. They knew the galaxy would test them again, and they were ready. The Armada did not move yet. It only revealed itself like a storm cloud on the horizon. Vast and heavy, each ship waiting for a signal, each crew holding their breath. The galaxy could only watch and wonder when the storm would break. On one alien world, a child asked her father, "Why are the humans so angry?" The father sighed, his eyes on the newsfeed of Terran dreadnoughts. "Because we laughed at them when they were bleeding," he whispered. And no one forgets laughter made over their pain. In every corner of the galaxy, fear replaced arrogance. No one dared laugh now. No one dared call humanity weak. For they had seen the shadows rise. They had seen the real Armada. And the Armada was not just a fleet. It was a message carved in steel and fire. Earth had been silent. But Earth had never been helpless. The galaxy finally understood. Humanity's patience was over. And when the Armada moved, nothing would stop it. The galaxy trembles. The galaxy was no longer laughing. The sound of mockery had died, replaced by silence heavy and sharp. Every empire, every ruler, every commander now watched the Terran Armada with fear in their hearts. For the first time in centuries, the great powers of the galaxy felt small. They had mocked Earth as a weak world, but now, thousands of Terran ships darkened the void. Their hulls black as night, their weapons glowing faintly like coals before a storm. The sight alone shook entire star systems. In the council chamber, panic filled the air. Delegates shouted over each other, tails lashing, claws clanging against metal tables. "We must unite against them," one screamed. "If we do not, Earth will take us one by one." Another slammed his fist. "Do not provoke them, do not move. They will crush us if we make the first strike." Arguments spread like wildfire. Some demanded preemptive war. Others begged for peace, but no one agreed. And fear drowned reason. Meanwhile, in markets across the galaxy, merchants whispered to one another. "Did you see the human ships?" they asked. "Carriers the size of continents. Dreadnoughts that bend gravity itself." One smuggler swore he saw Terran fighters slice through asteroid fields at speeds no alien vessel could match. Another swore he had heard of a single human ship erasing a pirate fleet without taking a scratch. The people trembled. Ordinary aliens began preparing for disaster. Families hoarded supplies. Ships fled border systems near Sol. Some even prayed to their gods for mercy, whispering Earth's name like a curse. In the military academies of powerful empires, fear turned into sleepless nights. Cadets studied the Helios 2 strike. They replayed every second of the battle, trying to understand, but there was no weakness to find. The humans had fought with silence, with precision, and with patience. Things no computer could predict. Alien generals grew pale. They knew their fleets were strong, but not united, not ready. Their weapons were powerful, but slower, less disciplined. They realized with horror that if humanity marched forward, nothing could stand in their way. And still, Earth said nothing. The Terran envoy returned to the council. His words calm, his face unreadable. "We will defend our people," he said. "We will not start wars, but we will not bow to anyone. Not anymore." His voice echoed in the chamber like thunder, and no one dared laugh. The galaxy trembled, not because of human words, but because of human silence. For everyone now knew that silence hid the sharpest blade. In the far reaches of the Kairos Empire, a ruler paced his throne room, his golden crown slipping down his horns. "We cannot stop them," he muttered. "We cannot fight them." His advisors whispered of surrender, whispered of tribute, but none dared to speak it loud in the Dominion, where the burned wreckage of 20 ships still floated above Helios 2. Mourning songs echoed across their homeworlds. Their pride was shattered. Their people demanded vengeance. But their leaders feared more losses. They knew another strike would bring extinction. The galaxy trembled because Earth had done the unthinkable. They had changed the balance of power overnight. From the weakest mocked species, they had become the shadow looming over all. Children on alien worlds whispered human stories as if they were legends. "They say one Terran ship can erase a planet," some said. "They say their soldiers fight like demons, never giving up." The truth grew larger than reality. And fear became bigger than fact. In secret, alliances began to form. Rivals who had hated each other for centuries now spoke quietly of working together, not out of trust but out of terror. Yet even these talks ended with despair. For how could they unite fast enough to match the storm that already waited? On Earth itself, the people stood in silence. They watched their fleets rise, not with pride alone but with heavy hearts. They had never wanted to show their armada. They had never wanted to become a threat. But the galaxy had forced their hand. Humanity had been patient, and now patience had ended. The galaxy trembled not because Earth attacked, but because Earth had not attacked yet. The waiting was worse than fire, the uncertainty heavier than war. Every empire now lived under the same shadow. A question burned in their minds, haunting their nights, stealing their sleep. When would the Terran Armada move Earth's message? The galaxy lived in silence. No laughter, no mocking words, only fear. Entire fleets drifted nervously on their borders, their captains waiting for a signal that never came. The Terran Armada hung like a storm on the horizon, dark and endless but unmoving, and that waiting became a nightmare. Finally, the silence broke. Across the stars, every screen, every hollow, every broadcast station flickered. The image of a human figure appeared, not in a council chamber, not in a throne room, but standing against the vast backdrop of space. His face was calm, his eyes hard. He wore the uniform of Earth's fleet, black as the void with silver insignia shining faintly. "This is Earth," his voice began, slow and steady. "You laughed at us, you called us weak. You treated us as if we were children in a galaxy of giants." His words cut through static, echoing into every corner of the known stars. In alien cities, people froze. Shopkeepers left their stalls. Workers stopped their machines. Soldiers stood silent at attention. Children pressed close to their families, all listening to the human voice that now carried across the galaxy. "We remember every insult," the human commander continued. "Every treaty where we were dismissed. Every colony where our people were threatened. Every council where your laughter drowned out our voices." His tone did not rise, but each word carried weight like iron striking stone. The camera shifted, and behind him the Armada came into view. Rows upon rows of ships, carriers, destroyers, dreadnoughts, each one silent, each one waiting. Their sheer number filled the sky until stars disappeared. "This is who we are," the commander said. "We are not the fragile species you believed. We are not helpless, we are patient, we are builders, and we do not forget." Gasps echoed in council chambers across the galaxy. Delegates leaned forward, their bodies tense, their throats dry. Entire governments watched as the truth of Earth's silence unfolded before them. "Do not mistake this message," when the human went on, his voice sharper now. "We do not seek war. We will not invade your homes. We will not enslave your people. But hear us well: if you strike at us, if you mock us again, if you threaten our children, then you will face this." He gestured toward the endless Armada, a storm of metal and fire. In one empire's throne room, the ruler collapsed back into his seat, his golden crown slipping down his horns. He whispered, "They do not bluff. Not after Helios 2. On another world, Soldiers knelt before the broadcast, not in worship, but in fear, knowing that no fleet they owned could match the shadows of Earth. The human commander's voice softened. But the steel remained. We asked only for respect. We asked only to be treated as equals. That chance is ending. Today you will choose. Will you stand with us as allies, or will you stand against us and be erased? The feed cut, and silence followed. Heavy, endless silence. In the council chamber, no one laughed, no one even breathed. The alien delegates looked at one another. Fear and despair written in their faces. They had wanted Earth to kneel, but now they faced a choice they could not escape. Outside, the galaxy trembled. Civilizations argued in secret halls. "We cannot fight them," said one general. "But can we trust them?" whispered another. Suspicion battled with fear, but the truth was clear. Humanity now held the knife, and the galaxy's fate rested on their hand. On Earth itself, the people did not cheer. They did not celebrate. Instead, they stood in silence. Watching their commander speak to the stars, they knew this was not a boast. Not a cry for conquest, it was a warning. It was the last chance for peace. And yet, across the stars, many wondered, was it truly peace the humans sought, or was it vengeance? In quiet homes and crowded streets, in palaces and military bases, aliens whispered the same question to one another, a question that haunted their sleep. What would happen if humanity's patience finally ended? The end of mockery. The galaxy no longer mocked Earth. The sound of laughter had died weeks ago. Now there was only silence, heavy and sharp. Like the pause before a storm, alien empires that once sneered at humans now met in fear-filled halls. Debating their future in the council chamber, the air was thick with dread. No one dared raise their voice too high. No one dared insult Earth. The human envoy stood calmly in the center, his presence alone enough to keep the room quiet. One alien delegate, his scales pale with fear, finally spoke. "You ask for respect, you ask for peace. But how can we trust you? How do we know you will not crush us?" His words trembled like glass. The human envoy's reply was simple. "We are not here to conquer, we are here to live. But if you strike at us again, if you mock our right to stand as equals, then the laughter will end forever." His eyes burned cold, his voice steady. The room shivered at the weight of his warning. Across the stars, the Terran Armada moved at last, not to attack, but to show its strength. On the edges of alien systems, black warships emerged from the void, not firing, not destroying, simply standing as walls of steel. Their very presence broke courage. Their silence shouted louder than any weapon. In markets and homes, in palaces and slums, ordinary aliens looked up at the sky and trembled. Parents pulled their children close. Soldiers tightened their grips on their rifles, and priests whispered prayers to gods that could not protect them from humanity's shadow. One empire tested the warning. A small fleet tried to strike a human convoy near the border. The response was swift. A single Terran destroyer arrived, and within minutes the alien fleet was gone, erased without leaving a signal. The message was clear. Earth was done being mocked. Fear turned into surrender. Treaties were signed, tributes were offered. Rulers bowed their heads not because they wanted to, but because they had no choice. Humanity had become the storm no one could face. But among the fear, a strange new respect began to grow. Some alien leaders saw what others refused to. They realized that humanity had not struck first, humanity had not enslaved. Humanity had only answered cruelty with silence, patience, and finally strength. The galaxy began to change. For the first time, human voices were heard in the council without mockery. Their words carried weight. Their demands could not be ignored. The weak who had been laughed at were now the ones others looked to. On Earth itself there was no celebration. The people did not cheer their armada. They did not sing songs of conquest. Instead, they watched the stars in silence. They knew what it cost to reach this moment. They knew patience had turned them into shadows feared across the galaxy. In a quiet speech, the Terran commander addressed his people. "We never wanted their fear," he said. "We wanted their respect, but the galaxy gave us no choice. They mocked us, they pushed us, they forced us to show what we had built in silence. Now they will never forget, and they never did." Generations later, the story was still told. The day when Earth revealed its armada, the day laughter died, the day the galaxy learned the price of underestimating humanity, no empire dared call them weak again. No delegate dared sneer when a human spoke. The mockery was gone, erased by steel and fire, replaced by silence and respect. And so it ended. The age of laughter, the age of mockery. The galaxy would never again forget that the quiet ones are the most dangerous. For when humanity was silent, it was only waiting, and when it moved, the stars themselves trembled.